Hello, boys and girls. I want to welcome you to the latest Trainers Talk. I have a great friend of mine that's on this one. He is the owner of the B360. He's the strength and conditioning coach, performance coach extraordinaire, Juan Gomez. How you doing, buddy?
How you doing, D? It's a pleasure to be here with you again. I think the last time we had one of these were in the middle of the pandemic, and a lot has changed in so many ways for everybody. But I'm happy to be here with you as always. I'm happy to connect, exchange some ideas, and do what we love to do, which is talking about fitness and the future of this amazing career that we both decided to take on many years ago.
That's for sure. It's funny. We're both on here, and we got some gray in our beards, and we got a little bit of life in us. Been doing this for almost 20 years. What has been your process working with new clients, now compared to when, 10, 15 years ago?
I think the most important thing to consider when it comes to the evolution of fitness or what we done for our clientele and in general is we, or at least I know you and I have both this continuously improve, change, updated, make the adjustments necessary to actually provide a better service. I think when we started, it was just more of the simplistic way of thinking fitness was just about weight loss or building muscle, but it never come to on my end to understand it was just more than as much as is the physical part of it, also the mental part of it, the prevention, the healthy aging, and all the sort of components that after years of doing it, we realize, oh wait, our clients actually are looking for something a little bit wider than what we thought we were going to be doing. And the evolution came mostly from that, from understanding that fitness as just fitness is just for the goals of the clients. But when it comes to health and wellness, it just involves so many aspects that from years, and you and I talked that when you came here, has allowed us to kind of create a bigger picture and a bigger programs for those that are decided to train with us.
Yeah, totally. I mean, I kind of think of it in a way where the more and more I've been in this world, this business of working with clients or working with people, is that we've gone less external look and more internal.
That's right. Mm-hmm.
And so in a way, we've gone less on the vanity side of our training, and that's still a part of it, but it's kind of more to what's in the mind, what's in the organs, how the organs are functioning, how that's going to overall help the longevity of the client. And so within that process, do you think, what have you learned about your own body trying to over this last 15 years? Because obviously as we age as trainers and movement changes, and what we can do in the gym and what we can do in terms of working out, how has that changed for you?
Yes, that's actually a very important question, because I don't think we wouldn't be here if we wouldn't put in practice what we just preach. We wouldn't be here doing what we're doing, trying to tell people or show people the real value of exercising and be committed to a program if we would have done it and under the same terms. Because I think, like you said, we know, and probably those who talk to you or those who talk to me, they know you and I along the way have met a lot of people who have decided to be trainers or work with clients in the fitness industry, but they had never realized the long hours, how energy consuming is, the long days, you're sacrificing time with your family, your beloved ones, and everybody. And I think the evolution of what we've done to ourselves is the reason we're still doing this. So you asked me about what I've done differently. I think those days where I was just doing split routines, which there's a place for them. There's a place and a population for it.
Can you explain what split routines are?
Yeah. That's the conventional, typical bodybuilding concept of pull, push, or lower body. You do one day just upper body pulling, lower body next day. The next day you do pushing muscles. So you do chest, triceps, shoulders, or you do antagonist back and chest, or big muscle with small muscle. That's kind of like the split routines where we actually just divided our bodies, segmented our bodies.
Yeah.
One day with just triceps, and you and I have few fun sessions doing that at the gym when we worked together in the beginning. And but that's something, for example, I try not to apply a lot with my clients unless I see the importance, because like I said, there's a place and there is a population for it. But I think overall I have adapted more into the functional part, the bigger picture, combining resistance with cardiovascular training, with mobility, with with efficiency as far as the cardiovascular system. That's one thing I have changed on my own training, because of the schedule, and we are busy with family and everything else. Now we don't have the hour and a half or 2 hours we used to have after a long day, nor the energy. So now we just have an hour or 45 minutes to squeeze something. So we actually come out with 5, 6 movements and just knock them all out and get it done with. But I think the most important part that I have learned uh, with me throughout my training is the recovery part and the deloading part. So the recovery part, as far as, hey, I'm doing this session in the morning. I'm working out with Donovan in the morning. We're doing heavy weights. What should I do the day before? Should I just up my protein intake? Should I get a little bit more sleep, hydrate? I'm not doing much tomorrow as far as cardio and energy consuming. Should I just hold back a little bit on carbs? Not a lot of calories. I can probably, there's room for maybe intermittent fasting, things like that. So it's the best school we have gone is our own bodies, in our own perception of how training is.
Yeah. I mean, I definitely think there is a space where, you get a little humbled as you kind of progress and you learn like what things really keep you going. And then also I think our ego, as you become a better trainer, it reduces, because you realize that everybody can learn something. And then and you realize at the end of the day, the things like when you have a family, the things that really matter. So
yeah,
the need to be the biggest and strongest dude in the gym is not longer the thing.
gone.
It's like, can you be in a healthy state so you can provide for your family? Can you,
correct,
to provide the service for your clients? One of the things I've seen that's transformed for you over the last, from afar, is your love for cycling. It seems like you've been on the bike, the road bike in particular, a lot more. And I'm noticing even from your social media and some of our conversations that cycling has become a new passion and a clientele that has grown for you. Tell me a little bit more about that. How did you get that for cycling first? How did that happen?
Well, those you know this, but those who don't know me, I'm from Colombia. I moved here when I was 19, 23 years ago, and cycling in Colombia is like, it's not even a sport. It's like a vehicle, a way to transport people, the transportation way to do it. Go from point A to point B. We had a huge, diverse topography. The terrain is pretty aggressive, and for us, cycling is just basically a way to go on with our lives. I never grew up with that. I never had to. I mean, I grew up with bikes, but I never had the need to bike for 20 miles to go to school or anything. I was very lucky not to have to do that like a lot of kids do. I don't know if it's lucky or unlucky, because actually those who done it went on in life to be able to do a lot of stuff, go to school, go back. Those use that way to get to where they wanted to be in life. I didn't have to do that, but so it was kind of in the back for years, the back burner for years. But I think my passion for cycling, and this is something that we talk about all the time, is it started out because it was more of a way to connect with people, community. It was just more a way to, hey, we love bikes or we love outdoors. You're way better than me on bikes, or I am probably gonna be faster than you. But the point is not that. When you're on a bike, it's you and the route, it's you and the road. I mean, you're fitter, you go faster, and you just go.
Yeah.
I'm not that fast. I'll still get there. Either you wait or you have just to, be miserable. But it came out as an opportunity to connect with people that I kind of knew that I don't see often. And I was always trying to find. I mean, I'm always very like curious about learning about aerobic endurance, cardiovascular endurance type sports, training this way, training that way. As far as strength, as far as aerobic endurance type stuff, those sort of things. So I kind of connected with my desire to learn, and also kind of like the desire to connect with other people. And I was lucky enough to have, this job has allowed us to meet people that I don't even know how it happened, but we ended up meeting people that you're like, how did this happen? How did we end up training this person? And because of that, we actually were able to have these opportunities to see things, to do things with them, because they just wanted us to be part of it.
Yeah.
And I was lucky enough to be part of the Tour de France at some point with one of my clients who's used to co-own a team. And we actually the whole week experiencing France with a team, with the staff, with the competition, be in the car with them. So it was an amazing experience. But once again, that's kind of like getting me like that, the extra push that I needed. But the way I see it is the way you train, and the way I do this is I see it more as a way to, add that little extra fun component or that passion component that needs to happen. And that's what I tell people all the time. The weight room is not the only option we have for fitness. It's not the only option we have to be better or healthier. It needs to start in a place that you actually going to be committed to, whether it's I enjoy going to the gym to do body weight. I enjoy walking at the park and doing intervals, or I enjoy riding for a mile and then do some stretches. So whatever passion, whatever allows us to come back the next day and do it again. And then once we get a routine and a habit, we'll be able to, try to continue on. So that's how I started doing cycling, more of a way to connect with people, and more of a way to actually explore opportunities for me to learn, and also for others to actually feel like there's just more than just one particular thing to do, which is the weight room, the gym. Because sometimes, the gym can be intimidating for a lot of people.
Yep.
So that's how I started.
That's cool. And what year was it when you did the Tour de France thing?
Yeah, so 2016, the Drapac, Michael Drapac was he was co-owner of a team, the only American team that was there.
Yeah.
Which was called back in the days Cannondale Drapac, which is now Education First, EF. And it's a team that actually competes in the World Tour events. I don't know. He came in town, and you know how it is. You know how it works.
Exactly. Yeah,
That's how I think. I remember you actually. That's how you ended there where you are. I think that's a story like that. It's just so crazy that I don't know. So he ended up coming, asking for a trainer. I think he trained with somebody, but I think he saw me training with somebody, and then he came. He's like, no, I'm looking more for somebody who's more of a holistic approach, more of, have a little bit more foundation about health, rather than just like muscle size or anything. And we just connected that way. And then his leading rider was a guy from Colombia. He cycling is not just a team, individual sport. There's people who actually, it's like a quarterback.
Totally.
Everybody works toward one leader in order to get him there to win. The leader of the team back then, he was from Colombia. And that year I got to go to France. He finished second on the Tour de France. So I got to be at the embassy celebrating he finished second on the podium, surrounded by these amazing riders, and I couldn't believe it. And I was like, man, you just never know what life is gonna, So that was in 2016. Yes. So
that's cool. And so one of the things that we were talking about that when I was in Atlanta for the holidays visiting my parents, and we were able to get a workout in, and you were mentioning that you have a camp, that you're going to be doing in Colombia. Tell me about this cycling camp and how people
Yeah.
can sign up, and tell me a little bit more about the experience.
Yeah. So in 2019, right before pandemic, so basically my business model of cycling is online coaching. Basically, I just prescribe routines for people to do on their own, and then I get a platform that actually would give me reports about like how did they do it, like the average heart rate and all those specific things that we need to know. And then in 2019, I decided to do a camp here in Asheville, North Carolina, which is like paradise for cyclists because it's just, the terrain, the mountains is beautiful. And we did one in 2019. It was just the beginning. We had 15 riders, 5 came from Colombia and 10 were from the United States. And it was a great experience. And then pandemic hit, it was a lot of issues as far as like, going somewhere and do it again. I wanted to do it again, but unfortunately it didn't work out for everybody. So this year I'm gonna do it for the first time. We're gonna take everybody from here to Colombia, and we're gonna take it to what's called the Coffeelands. So the Coffeelands is basically where I'm from. It's 3 different states. Think of California and the next neighbor states.
Yeah.
And they all make part of what's called the perfect place for coffee. So everything you see in that area is just coffee plantations, and you're just surrounded by amazing views and mountains and stuff. So right now we have coffee farms that have become lodges. I mean, hotels and places to stay overnight, very equipped with like chefs and staff, and they actually give you the whole experience of coffee, going to a small farms and walk you through the whole process. So
Yeah.
this year we decided to do it with people who love to know more about coffee, people who want to know about cuisine, food, landscape. But the main part of it is we're going to use bikes, and the bike thing is going to be, a lot of people find it kind of challenging, but that's just the way Colombia is for cycling. But we're going to provide opportunities for those who don't want to ride hard every day, just to hop on the van and just go to the hotel. We have organized ways to people do like day tours to the farms, or visit a landmark or something, like small towns that we have, go shopping or something. So we are going to make it in ways that people can actually enjoy, but in mind that is all throughout just riding bicycles.
Oh, cool. And when are you doing that? When's the dates for that?
Yes, we'll start the camp on March 28th, which is on a Tuesday, and then we are gonna end it on Saturday, April 2nd. It's gonna be four stages, back to date every day, and then we're gonna start a camp in a place called Pereira, it's a city where I'm from, and it's international flights there. People fly from here, it's direct flights there, and we'll start the camp from there. But we're gonna go along the Andes and along the coffee lands, and we're gonna go from one farm to the next one. And so we're not actually based in one place. So you're gonna get to see the Andes, the coffee farms. You're gonna see the valleys where like this, with these sugar cane plantations and stuff like that. So we try to make it as diverse as we can in such a short time.
Yeah.
But it's definitely an experience that those who sign up are just blown away by that. So
Yeah.
we hope that we get to have people, to join us and, get to see Colombia from a bicycle perspective, and this could be the beginning of many other opportunities on that.
Yeah, that's cool. I think if Jackie hears about the coffee part, she's like, the coffee, like, what? I'm on my way,
Yeah.
So that's cool. Yeah, what we'll do is we'll put a link out and everything when we are posting this interview and stuff like that, so people can kind of go to where they can to contact you to sign up if they want to sign up.
Great, awesome. I have a question for you actually,
Yeah.
because we were talking about training, and people know that I have always found you a great reference for me to, for my training, for my approach about this industry. It's not an easy industry to be in, first of all.
Yeah.
And it's not an easy industry to like, can be intimidating, because I remember when we started, I was like, man, I see those guys all buff and all those, jacked, and they spend the whole day at the gym and they look like they're going to have so much clientele. And it was me just having one or two clients.
Yeah.
And then 20 years later, 18 years later, here I am. I'm just like, craft, like working on my craft even more and more, make it a little bit more, a better service, of course,
Yeah.
but also a smarter service. So my question to you is, how from your perspective, how are you, how's your training, how's your approach about fitness has changed throughout these years?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think for me, most of my adjustments have, kind of like I was saying, it's still less external but more internal. I would say at the end of the day, the process is somewhat still similar. It's just that it's got more honed. So what I mean by that is, at the end of the day, I service a client. If the client wants to lose weight and they want to get into overall better shape, and they are more concerned about the inches, and that's kind of more the forward thinking that they're thinking about, I will address that. I will kind of keep that as the main thing, but I will save about 20%, 25% of the training always towards the slipping in the longevity piece, the overall health piece, making sure that I'm not going to compromise their next 10 years for the next 2 months.
That's
And
exactly how I feel.
So that's like the bottom. So at the end of the day, there's a big range that I will service the client based off what they want and the goals. But if I feel like it's going to sacrifice their next 10 years, then I will just say, I don't think it's the way to go. And hopefully we can find a place to meet where I don't feel like it compromises their health. And there's been times when, usually what I've learned too is that if I ask better questions in the beginning before we start, we can get to the point of understanding of that and understand their expectation. And then I can explain through the hundreds of clients I've worked with why that narrow point of view might not work well.
Exactly.
And hopefully be able to convince them the best of all worlds circumstance of like, hey, we can get you here, that you'll be trim, you'll still, you'll definitely be in better shape. You might not lose 20 pounds, you'll lose 10 pounds, but then also at the same point, it's going to be sustainable. We're going to be able to keep the weight off and blah, blah, blah. So I think asking the questions have changed a little bit. My overall experience, how to get there quicker, kind of cut through the BS in the beginning.
Exactly. Yeah.
So,
yeah.
Because I think that's sometimes what happens is like I think my old me would try to please the client off of what they said and what they wanted, versus now I do put my mindset into there and say, you might not want to go that direction, and this is the reason why.
Correct. And I think the other component that also has changed a lot is, I think humankind, at least the current generations that we are still here, I think the pandemic component changed a lot of stuff. And I really believe that from a neurological standpoint, I think there was a lot of changes in our brains. Something happens that caused, anxiety and more depression, and we're more, all the time we find ourselves just go, trying to figure out a way to just get stuff done because we are going to go, everything's going to be bad. And so that sense of that feeling of, we are going to be in a bad place and we need to get going and everything, has allowed me to actually say, wait, hold on, we need to find, because you and I know that exercise poorly designed is a stressor that actually can affect you, actually them doing the opposite, that what we're looking for is be better off with it. But I think a lot of the things allowed me to realize is, hey, listen, it's the best way to fight anxiety. It's the best way to fight that fear of, oh my God, loneliness. You know, the more important, the way to cope with stress, with addictions, or people just sitting at home not doing much, just letting life happen, going on. I think that's something I have found is the best and the most important thing for us to do, and to let people know the benefit of that. Because unfortunately, some people think, I'm going to go to the gym, I'm already depressed, I'm going to see this guy making me do endless amount of things, I'm going to leave from there worse. And it's not the case. It goes, you know, like you said, internally, there's more than just that.
Yeah.
So
there's, you know, something that I've noticed too, that's kind of, I've thinking about like the last couple of years and thinking about the pandemic too, is that our input, what we're absorbing through senses has like quadrupled in the last 20 years.
right.
And what I mean by that, we're watching more videos, more digital content on our phones. We're on it all the time. And something that's like funny is that at least one-on-one training, especially if it's in person, it actually removes the phone.
Exactly.
And it's one of the few times that most people, besides when they're sleeping, when
You
they
don't
don't have the phone and they're not, and sometimes even when they're sleeping, they might have it next to them. So it's one of the few times where the phone is down for the most part. Now they can get in trouble a little bit. I think those Apple Watches and the different watches can kind of get people in trouble a little bit, but for the most part, they're in a state for 30 to 60 minutes where they're not on their phone, and it gives them that, even just that mental break for themselves.
Correct.
Is a game changer. And so
I think yeah, I didn't even see it when you say that. I that's so important. I remember after the pandemic, when we opened up the gym, that it was almost, I mean, I actually moved to another gym because the owner of the current gym told me that they were going to have to go out of business. So I had to find an alternative. But then finally, this one didn't close. So I came back to them because it feels like family there. They're just always, we had a good group and everything. And I remember the first few sessions when I got back, you can tell the people's faces of excitement just to have a social interaction with a human.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that happens to you, and I'm open to say this. My house, after spending no time with my family, and all of a sudden in pandemic, we had to spend all day school, work, the office became the dining table. This that just compress a lot of the mental part of us. So I remember those days coming back to like, and that's true. A lot of people actually they see the opportunity to come to the gym, be away from phones, be away from whatever distractions, because a lot of them times are distractions, and just focus on themselves.
Yeah.
So I think you know, like I said, I like you said, like I seen it throughout social media, what you guys have done there, and the sense of community. I honestly have to say, you have stand out as a very good model of what a really good program should be like. Not necessarily from analyzing like a wellness perspective, where you have all the components of, you know, I'm trying to build out this nutritional part, the holistic approach, but I see it more as a community, where kind of like I see the big groups, I see the diversity, I see how well you design the programs, which has always been your strength, but the sense of people are just connected through your concept. And that's something people really wish they would have more often somewhere else in different places. I always say, I wish I would have more hours to help people, because I love what I do. Like we talked about it the other day. I say I would love to have more time to help. Unfortunately, I don't.
Yeah.
But that's because of that.
Yeah, no, it's so true. I mean, like I think the beautiful thing about having a family is it saves yourself a little bit from balancing it, so that you don't overextend yourself one direction professionally. But I was saying this to Jackie, and I was saying this to somebody else, that what's cool about our community, and at least with Calistoga Fit, is that I have now used that whatever you call that community, like they sometimes, like in different professional sports, they'll call their fans or their people in the crowd as like their 12th man or whatever the next person
Correct.
is. And I have used them in scenarios when somebody comes in the door who I can tell is like mentally a little bit depressed, or a little bit
Of
like,
course.
they're looking for the juice. And they think that, getting themselves in better shape and looking better is going to be the juice. But I think what people want is they want that. They want to be able to move and feel better for sure. But the social aspect and the community aspect of being able to connect with people, people who are positive, I think not even
Correct.
just connecting with people who are positive and like want to lift you up is such a huge thing. And so I've used that when I've said, you know what, we're going to work on, I've turned down training where I said, I'm going to just do training with you for 1 month. I'm going to get you ready so you can get into the classes, because
Awesome.
I want you in the classes, because then you're going to have that energy and it's just going to,
Everything else.
it's going to just elevate you. And then you'll be able to connect with people. And then if you want to do training, we can do training in between the classes. And that way it supplements your overall kind of health. You get the social aspect and you get the
Correct.
specific aspect of how to get more detail in your movement. So,
Correct. Now, here's like one question that we never want to be asked. And what's the challenge you have, the biggest challenge you have found in your new model of fitness in this industry? What's something you'll be like, man, it took me a minute to actually figure out how to do it or how to present a better service? What is the biggest, not obstacle, but kind of the challenge, the biggest challenge you have endured in the last few?
it's two parts. The thing, this is for any business that has, especially a service business. Number one is people. It's the right team. It takes a long time to, and it evolves. When you think, sometimes people, I'm a pretty steady person.
Yes.
And I think that's, in a way, like yourself, it's what's made us successful, because we're willing to do the thing continuously, consistently, for years
Correct.
over years. And not most people are like that. And so I would say finding, you have to, I think the thing I've gotten better at is, as a team, is you almost have to create two funnels within your business,
Uh-huh.
that has scale, is a way to get customers in the door and a way to get new talent, or
To work for you.
team members in the door. And that both of those funnels need to be pretty good. And learning how to, I feel like in the last year and 18 months, that's where we've learned the most, is how to funnel the right person, the people, into our team where they can integrate. And then also too, if they're not the right person, be able to make the switch pretty quickly and say,
Of course.
either you need to be in a different division, or it just doesn't
Going your own way.
work. I would say the other part is that I think the hard thing is, obviously most of the people, not all, but most of the people we're training have more money than us. And you're going
Yeah.
to they have, as they've, most of them have earned those opportunities, and most of them are older, so there's some of it is just stacked opportunity and time. But then what happens is, it's kind of like, I think, like when you went to the Tour de France, your vision went from here, and it like
Exactly.
doubled. And sometimes, training, I think what we charge, it seems like a lot, and it is. I mean, we make a good living. We are able to support our families.
Yeah.
I have extreme gratitude for what I'm able to do with my family, and occasionally be able to take trips and stuff like that. But to build out something that requires a lot of capital,
Correct.
and so there's not a lot of loose capital in my business. I have I can make plays. I can make plays off relationships. I can make plays off of expertise. But I would say the limiting factor that I'm hoping to close in the next 4 years is the ability to have more capital in our arsenal or in our business to be able to make bigger plays if we want to make bigger plays.
That's awesome. That's awesome. But I think like any other career or any other business, small business owners that we are, is that we're gonna face those. The truth is we're gonna face those challenges along the way. But I think we are get used to more to deal with them too. That I think I used to panic and I used to look at numbers and I used to be like, what am I gonna do here? I always look at that, like what was coming in versus what I want, where I wanted to be. Now I actually don't see it that way. Now I see it like, what do I need to do myself in order for them to come to me in the way I want it so I can get what I want? So instead of me thinking I need to make X from them, I need to say, what do I need to do for them? So they really, and I think I have done a pretty decent job understanding that. And it takes, like you say, you need to get out of your ego. Like things are going to work out the way I think. No, we don't know it all. We actually don't know much.
Yeah.
But one thing is understanding that when you present yourself authentic and you really present to the people that want to work with you, that you care about them, that you want them to get what they expect. But not only that, but you also guide them, because the truth is they might see things online, they might hear about their friends, their journeys in fitness, but everybody's different. Everybody is different. Everybody, regardless of their goals, regardless of their age, everybody's goals have to be are the same, but they gotta be approached differently. So that's something I have learned throughout the years, that don't just look at the immediate reward I will get if I train 2 more people or anything, but instead, how do I keep that person happy and understanding that this is a long journey, which I'm sure you have kept clients forever, and it's because of that. Because I think you have created a great product of service, and more than service, just sense of community, that you care for them, that they see it, that you know their families, their lives, and we all working for one particular goal, which is have a better life for whatever time we have left.
Yeah, I mean, that was well said. I mean, I can't really add too much more to that, but it's so true that you, I think once I switched my mindset on coming back to how do I enhance the service and the way that we interact with our customers, our clients, and then also how can I do that? How can I be fair and authentic to my team members? Because I think that's also another part of it too. Is I'm kind of going more in the sense that, can I be authentic? Can I tell them the truth? If they ask me the question and they want to know why certain things are done the way they're done, very similar. I usually have 99% of the time, I have a exact reason why I do it the way I do it. And exactly. So I think explaining that and being, when they ask the question, I'll tell them. And I think that has helped also me. And it's also helped my mindset so that I don't feel like I'm holding things back from people when I don't need to.
Exactly. So it liberates you from, wasting energy and time on things that, are irrelevant these days for the clients and for yourself,
Yeah. So kind of thinking ahead, kind of, so you have this big camp coming up in Colombia, and that's going to be, I know that's going to be spectacular. Love that whole thing. What is your outlook, on the future, and then, the next couple of years? What are you kind of thinking about coming forward?
Well, one of the things I would like to do more is, and this is something being always in the back of my head, I still haven't figured out a way to make this, to make possible and attainable or accessible to more people what we do. For example, I would like to involve to get a better, like a bigger population, those who are not able to, work with us. How can we just, create partnerships, create programs, to understand that it's just, it's attainable. You need some support from other people invest in you, but that's something I really would like to work. But it's still based on the same principle as it, like you said, it needs to be down to science driven. It needs to be applied specific to the person, and it needs to be humanized. It needs to be a human way to do it. I don't think doing it through an app. I don't think doing it on a phone again, going back. I would like to do it more of a, community type of thing. Knowing that the numbers of, obesity and kids are just growing without what you and I grew up with, more like activities, physical activities, playgrounds and stuff. That's something I would like to actually maybe dig into it deep a little bit more, work with children community. And that's probably something I would like to start kind of working toward that, but and that would take probably a few years to develop it. What about you?
Well, I think for us, I mean, I think the big thing that we're thinking about is how to do more stuff in the healthcare space. Because, I've been working with clients for some clients over a decade. You're seeing this, I'm seeing this kind of gap that's there of connecting what we do already to functional medicine.
Exactly.
And putting people in positions where they can be at an optimal level versus just say, when I'm sick, I go to the doctor, but when you're not sick, what's going on? Are you at the levels that would, want to get you at levels where you feel very vital for your age, and that it feels that way even when you're 90, hopefully, if you can make it to that point. So, that's the stuff that I'm doing some research on and going to explore. And then I think the secondary portion is kind of, I always say 3 buckets. It's, I still like training people, even though it's in a weird way, it's the most less efficient thing that I do. In terms of
That's right. But I still need that human part of it, man. I still need it.
There's, I mean, and that's the reason why the rates are usually the highest for that one-on-one time, even though we probably could leverage that to do other things, but I still enjoy it. So I would say that, so it's 3 buckets. Is that portion. Then there's the hotel portion, our hotel management side, that will continue to kind of develop and grow. And then the future side that we don't have right now, but we want to kind of build out, is the healthcare side, or the partnership, the right partnerships.
Awesome.
Yeah.
That's great. Well, you're doing what you're doing, and you're going to get there, because it's great what you're doing. So, seriously, I really mean that. And I don't have to, you have to give credit to those who, deserve it. And then you guys have done an amazing job there. It's just, you're just too far from me to create this weekend camps there, weekend retreats. But we hope one day we can take some people
one day
out there.
we're going to get you out here. I mean, we'll probably, we're going to make this happen next year. I know it.
I would love that.
So, just talk about the camp one more time, and then we'll wrap up. If you have any other questions, we'll wrap up with that.
Sure. Okay, so this is just, remember, I'm extending this invitation to anybody who is willing to visit a country like Colombia, and a place that is actually not known as the biggest touristic place in Colombia. Is not the Andes and the Coffeelands, but it's actually the most beautiful area. I mean, it's been awarded, like the ecotourism right now has grown up a lot. You probably know that. Like, people want to go back to see like places like nature and all that stuff, that disconnecting from phones and internet and social media and stuff like that. So this will allow us to actually become us in a new setting, enjoying what we love, food, beautiful landscape, and biking if you are into it. So I want to take this opportunity that you are kindly giving me to invite people on the West Coast. I think I'll send you the flyer, and I'll resend it to you, where it explains to you where to fly to, what airlines go there, my contact info in case anybody else. It's only 15 spots available. That way we make it very personalized. We're going to bring a chef on board who's going to be traveling with us, cooking for us on site. We're going to have all the logistics, a van in the route, insurance, a car providing food and nutrition, hydration throughout the routes. We're going to have a welcoming dinner party. We're going to have a closing party at the end, very Colombian party kind of thing. So it goes beyond the exercising part. It's also a way to culturally get to know a different culture. And if you've never been in Colombia, it's actually a very, very diverse place that you actually will be just absolutely delighted to enjoy. So I invite anybody. Like I said, my contact information will be on the flyer. So anybody has questions, I'm just available at any time.
That sounds awesome. Well, God, the way you're talking about, I mean, if I got on the bike enough, I don't
You can
cycle.
drive the van, man. You can drive the van, or you can just cruise. Seriously, man. I mean, I love showing people like the way one time you brought me there and you showed me how it is there, and I'm like, man, I should move there. But I remember I was single back then. I was like, no, it's not the right place. And then now, I'm like, that would have been a good place. But things happen for a reason.
Yeah, no, that's for sure. Well, I want to thank you again for jumping on. It was awesome to kind of connect. I know I want to do this again because it's always fun to kind of talk shop a little bit and check in and always connect. So thank you again for joining.
Thank you so much, Dee. And I wish you the best, and I hope we meet again very soon with your team and my team, and we'll just make something fun for them and for us.
Sounds great.
All right. Have a great day. Good night. Thank you, guys. Bye-bye.
Bye.